That's right. I mean, Bitcoin's still, we think, early in an upcycle, so the idea that it could get to like 150,000 this year is still, within our base case.
Fundstrat Global's Tom Lee, doubling down that $150,000 per Bitcoin is still his base case this year.
150,000 in 2024. Yeah, base case.
Right, go on. And with Bitcoin making history, having officially processed over 1 billion transactions all time, what is the reasoning that Bitcoin could still hit these levels? Go on, Tom.
Right, go on. I didn't believe it. Yeah.
And go on.
Go on. Go on.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
And watch today's whole video. There's a Bitcoin chart you need to see, as well as top altcoins making news. But where does Bitcoin stand today?
One of the most interesting data points is that GBTC, the world's largest Bitcoin fund, saw 78 straight days of outflows once the ETFs got approved. On Friday, it hit the first day of inflows, about $63 million.
And that's true. As we explained in yesterday's video, Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF is no longer selling. They're buying, at least for one day, meaning that for the first time all year, every single spot Bitcoin ETF had inflows last Friday. Grayscale even ranked number 2 behind Fidelity. And what that means, according to Bloomberg's senior ETF analyst, Eric Balchunas, not going to spike the football like some did during the outflow period, but we'll point out that this means over 95% of the ETF investors hodled during what was a pretty nasty and persistent downturn, meaning the institutions were not scared. They chose to hodl and even accumulate during the dip.
And so that doesn't mean that all of the selling is gone, but for 78 straight days, people were taking money out of that fund. And on Friday, they decided to start putting it back. We see the price rally.
So what do you think that says about the overall scheme with Bitcoin, and more importantly, the ETF world? Will the same happen next time? Who knows? But track record says it will be pretty high percent again. Of course, as we've said, outflows will happen, so will inflows. But over time, 2 things tend to be true for ETFs: net growth and relatively strong hands.
Yeah, so whenever you see the ETFs get approved, right, I think everyone was like, oh, these institutions are just waiting to pour capital in. It takes time. They've got to go to their investment committees. They've got to talk to their clients. They've got to go through their processes. And, fortunately or unfortunately, some of them are bureaucratic, and it's going to take some time. And so now we're starting to see these flows that are persistent that I think people are really excited about. Another data point that's really important is that Bitcoin, although it is volatile day to day, the 200-day moving average just hit an all-time high, just crossed over $50,000 for the first time. And so over the long run, Bitcoin continues to kind of trend upwards.
So moving averages are good for spotting trends in the markets. Typically in bull markets, we ride above the 200-day MA, and in the bear markets, we drop below, get rejected off of, meaning that for the first time since 2022, Bitcoin's 200-day moving average has hit an all-time high. And that means day to day, yes, we go up and down, but as long as we're above $50,000, this 200 MA, we are still in a bull market, i.e. any dips are made to be bought.
I think it does help that the Fed is reiterating that its view on the inflation and its being relatively dovish is more dovish than where the market is. So I think that's the process of why markets are recovering.
Now let's talk altcoin news, but I do have to show you this. Probably the most reliable indicator that we've seen to spot local Bitcoin lows throughout this cycle. And this is Bitcoin's short-term holder SOPR, SOPR, which is a Bitcoin indicator tracked by Glassnode, which takes into account only spent outputs younger than 155 days, meaning new Bitcoiners and whether they're still hodling or they've sold out. This serves as an indicator to assess the behavior of short-term investors, because we know what long-term investors tend to do. Long-term investors tend to hold, but short-term investors, they can get scared out of the market quicker. So in this last price dip, what happened? Well, short-term holders essentially capitulated and took significant losses during the last Bitcoin dip. This tends to be a fairly reliable signal for a short-term tactical bottom. In fact, last time we saw short-term hodlers act like in March of 2023. Bitcoin virtually only went up since March of last year. Yet, in this breaking news, the SEC is still cracking down on crypto. Robinhood Crypto gets a Wells notice from the US SEC. A Wells notice typically comes before a full-on lawsuit, and it received this enforcement action notice from the US SEC on May 4th, so they got this a few days ago, over crypto tokens traded on their platform. So just because they list cryptos, they give their users access to crypto, the SEC is coming after them. Meaning the SEC is now suing Kraken, Coinbase, Uniswap, MetaMask, and now Robinhood for the crime of helping regular Americans access crypto. And ask yourself this, why is the SEC suing everyone alive for the exact same unproven legal theory? They haven't won a single case. Why not wait to win a case instead of launching 5 at once? Because winning a case isn't the point. Gary wins by creating a chilling effect in the US for crypto. And even with just Ethereum and the SEC, many investors don't have answers.
They're going to play us out. But real quick, Ethereum, this lawsuit that effectively accuses the SEC of considering their security and then sort of bait and switching everybody. What do you think of that? And what do you think long-term means? The United States of America has an amazing court system, and we've seen over and over again the SEC and multiple players go to court, they argue it out. Sometimes the SEC wins, sometimes they don't. I think the judges will figure it out. That's very political. You're not giving us a side here. I don't know what the answer is. I don't think most people do. Thank you, Anthony.
Yet, looking at what investors are doing, ETH scarcity is intensifying. Ethereum held on centralized exchanges is increasingly getting scarcer than Bitcoin, so Ethereum is being pulled off of exchanges. ETH held on CEXs like Binance or Coinbase has drastically dropped from about 16% in March of 2023 to 10.66% by May 24. In comparison, BTC's reduction is less stark, still moving down, but moving from around 13% to now 11.85% in the same period. So it's assumed that if you're taking your coins off of exchanges, you're not interested in selling, you're interested in hodling. You would put them onto exchanges if you're interested in selling. We also have breaking news from Sui. Sui outperforms Solana in transactions while offering lower fees. So great little advertisement, but to me, the point is, transactions per day, Sui is now passing Solana, meaning more transactions are happening on Sui. And growth milestone announcement for zk-Link. This is an aggregated rollup unifying all of Ethereum's L2s. And the news today is this. Proud to announce that zk-Link Nova has achieved a new milestone of over $500 million in TVL across 436,000 unique wallet addresses. Meaning people are using this. This is now the largest aggregated L3 network, and you can bridge funds now into the largest aggregated L3 network that aggregates liquidity from any ETH L2 and earns Nova points. The proof is in the pudding. And I do want to update you on a gaming project that I am invested in. It's a collectible card game set in a dystopian clash of worlds.
Your playing cards are collectible and available in both digital and physical forms. Use these cards to play our trading card game and defend your dungeon in our action.
And why this originally interested me is because this crypto game is based on 7 fantasy and sci-fi novels.
Can humankind collaborate to survive? This question inspired a collective of 7 authors to write an epic sci-fi fantasy story, a saga in 7 volumes, written over 7 years.
And I loved this little hype video.
That is not all. What if Constellation turned gaming upside down?
Very interesting to see built-in audiences in the Web 2 world bring their audience into
Web 3. And if you're interested in making money in cryptocurrency, click subscribe. We drop 1 video per day, keeping you informed. Like always, see you tomorrow.